India has embarked on tremendous growth in the field of infrastructure, rapidly moving towards the vision of Viksit Bharat. To celebrate excellence in infrastructure, ET Now organized the 9th edition of its flagship event, ET Now Infra Focus Summit and Awards 2024. The conference was based on the theme of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Intention, innovation, inclusiveness. The gala event was flagged off with the welcome address by Rahul Kamath, editor, B2B division, Worldwide Media, The Times Group.
This platform continues to serve as a beacon of progress for India's infrastructure sector, and I'm honored to stand before you as we gather to deliberate on this year's theme, Viksit Bharat at 2047, Intention, Innovation, Inclusiveness. As we reflect on the journey so far, India's stride in infrastructure development are nothing short of remarkable. From the launch of transformative initiatives like the PM Gati Shakti program, which transformed the multimodal connectivity, to achieving record highway constructions and rapid urbanization efforts, India has laid a solid foundation for its growth.
The next speaker was Mr. Soren Patel, MD of Welspun Michigan Engineers Limited, who spoke on emerging technology that turns grey water into a valuable asset.
We do a lot of work underground for urban solutions and for rehabilitation of pipelines. Along the way, we figured out that we're transmitting water at a very great cost. Many, many distances this water flows before it reaches people, and then it is wasted. Imagine if we could turn it around and think of it as a resource, and every drop could be reused at the place where it is produced.
Next in line was an important discussion where the subject experts opined on the importance of infrastructure in achieving the vision of a Viksit Bharat. Here are some takeaways.
What is Viksit Bharat means to you when we think about these three key aspects of it: inclusivity, innovation, and intention? Let's start with Christoph.
One element of a Viksit Bharat that I want to emphasize and that I see as the country continues to develop, we expect it to grow closer together and to become more accessible, and for all corners of the country to become more accessible, easier to reach, and easier to travel to. And that's something that we're very excited to be part of this journey.
We have broken the barriers of caste, creed. We have gone above that. We also have poverty line much above, and we don't see anybody looking and dying of hunger.
My definition of the infrastructure Bharat is, Viksit Bharat is very, very crystal clear that every citizen should have a smart, sustainable home. So if it is there, then I think all the infrastructures will be available.
All the physical parts of the country, which is basically the infrastructure, the people, they have enough resources, and they have good living, they have good employment and everything.
We should be able to take care of food, education, health, environment. These four things at all levels. How do we solve for all of these challenges? Because if we get this to every citizen, I think that is a big uplift for the country of such a high population.
The next panel discussion was focused on sustainable infrastructure and creating livable, sustainable cities.
First, I move to Mr. Soren Patel, MD, Welspun. So what are the important factors that are required to collaborate with the government and the private sector participants for a company like you? And what has been the experience of Welspun, especially globally and in India in particular?
To work with the government on any infrastructure project requiring engineering, design, construction, it involves the ability to become a partner with them, because they are obligated to create the frameworks and the regulatory mechanisms that allow private sector to function. As Christoph earlier was talking, that it is only after there is a sanctity and a trust in the regulatory function it will permit investment from the private sector into the infrastructure space.
What is the disaster resilience in the infrastructure? Because that's where you deal with, your company deals with, and the key challenges on implementing the same.
So my role is actually taking Indian expertise around the world, right? It's the ambition of the soft power of India as a leader of a coalition that is looking at resilience of infrastructure.
So how do you engage with local communities to ensure that these are successfully implemented? I mean, these sustainable infrastructure projects.
We build infrastructure for the rural and urban households, especially for the waste management and agriculture sector, thereby generating clean energy, which is from bioenergy. And what we have done so far is that we have in India more than 90,000 biogas systems installed.
What is the strategic goal for a company like Worry and for the sector as a whole, which is important from power resilient infrastructure which is to be created?
We declared as a nation that we are at 200 gigawatts, right? What remains is 300 gigawatts. 300 gigawatts in the next 5.5 years. You do the math, it's 55 gigawatts. Okay, out of that, around 35 to 40 gigawatts has to come from solar. Our run rate today is 17 gigawatts. So we have to more than double the entire, all the way from supply to deployment.
Dikshu, conceptualization stage itself, if we have this sustainability and infrastructure kind of thing, since you are the architect company, how do you inculcate that at the design stage itself?
If you see how traditional community settlements, be it in Assam or be it in Gujarat, be it in Kerala or be it in Kashmir, we have always learned to build in something called vernacular architecture in a very responsible manner with meager resources at hand. So it has been a part of our DNA.
Finance and investment are key pillars in building a Viksit nation. The next panel was based on the current trends in financing infrastructure and how an enabling ecosystem can be created for promoting private investment.
Anurag, you've seen NHIT raising more than 1.1 lakh crore through the InvITs during the period 2019 to 24. What are your lessons in terms of how these innovative financing mechanisms have actually helped the growth of the sector?
The primary reason is the robust contractual framework that road sector has. Courtesy NHAI, courtesy the institutional learning that NHAI and investors had for the last 20-30 years of private sector participation. The road sector offers a very robust framework in which investors are willing to come and invest. So that is the biggest reason why NHIT has been a success.
Dr. Jayashankar, how are you looking at the role of private investments in the future, and to what extent they are likely to perhaps overtake the government scheme funding also?
The aspirations are still there. We need to grow further. We need to get into the next scale. We still have a lot of work in progress. And if we have to really spur up the investments, and now, yes, the investors are warming up, but this warming up needs to really be, converted into an animal spirit. I think that's something which is required.
Prateek, how do you see the innovative financing market as such, and what in your experience has actually worked well in terms of such innovative financial products and what has not?
From an innovation perspective, that's been one of the biggest innovation which has happened in the last 5-7 years, been taken up very well. We already have around 25 plus InvITs in the private plus public side, and a substantial amount of capital has been committed towards that, and we believe that will continue to remain the main exit or liquidity creation mechanism for a lot of developers.
Shiva, my next question is for you. How do you see PPPs in moving forward? Has it reached its curve that it has to reach? What are your challenges when you actually take over such assets and do the refinancing?
Now, what are the challenges that we face? We do not have construction risk. We do not have risk in terms of land acquisition, and we do not have risks in terms of the promoter failing to put money which he has committed before the project is constructed. These three risks we do not face. The risks that we face are almost entirely operational risks and risks in terms of security creation.
Coming to you, Malvika, how does IFC's involvement of financing infrastructure, and how have you actually influenced the local communities through your interventions?
The government played a huge role in the success of this sector, I think, by giving a clear framework. The establishment of SECI and the role of MNRE was huge there. And I think for investors and even for lenders, they were able to show a path for the sector, that we are SECI, we are going to be doing X number of auctions every year. There is a pipeline for you to invest, and there is a vision that we want to get there.
Ajit ji, what do you think needs to be done more in terms of how the government should look at giving more impetus to attracting both international and domestic investors?
One, in some cases, where the detailed project report is prepared inadequately. It is put into place and is used many years after it is prepared. And then, when it comes to actual bids, they are much different or higher than what the detailed project report says. They're also passed by the lenders' engineers. And both these are finally accepted by the government as the price at which we will build this road. But should somewhere we have to terminate the contract, we'll only pay you the price outlined in the detailed project report. This makes the lender worry, and he says, this difference, the sponsor or the concessionaire has to guarantee us. This puts a pressure on the balance sheets of the sponsors and their owners. That is one of the reasons why you will see that no foreign company is coming into financing PPP projects unless they are completed.
Green building.
The next discussion was based on the topic of innovation in infrastructure and construction. The subject experts presented their view on how to bring focus on the larger forum on the innovation in projects.
Where innovation has been implemented in the infrastructure, and how is that resulted in I would say, the environmental preservation. To start with, let's begin with Mr. Jalan.
I would like to introduce this audience to something also known as blue infrastructure, which is also termed as blue-green infrastructure or BGI. And this basically, what it aims to incorporate water bodies, the conservation of water bodies into today's urban planning.
Now I'd like to move to Mr. Shiv Kumar Burade. If you can also share any case study which you like to share.
As a MyTech ने हमने एक प्लेटफॉर्म डिज़ाइन किया है जहाँ पे जितनी भी केस स्टडीज़ है जो उस केस स्टडीज़ के ऊपर हम लोगों को बताते हैं कि आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट आप जो भी बिल्डिंग बना रहे हैं या रोड बना रहे हैं तो उसमें क्या क्या चीज़ें यूज़ की हुई है जिसकी वजह से क्या नेचर को हार्मफुल रहेगा या आपका प्रोजेक्ट कितना आप सस्टेनेबल और ग्रीन बिल्डिंग आपने बनाया है.
Now we'll move to Mr. K. Raman.
What we try to do in all these 30 years, so whatever the guidelines we are coming out with in terms of how the built environment taking this so that they can reduce in terms of less energy or water or even reduce carbon footprint. So that's what we try to do. In fact, we also try to see how we innovate ourselves every 5 to 6 years. We also try to see how our guidelines are in terms of raising the bars on energy performance or water performance so that the overall the building performance is at a higher level.
So now we'll move on to Mr. N.S. Rao.
We have been into the water treatment, wastewater treatment, and also into the infrastructure entire, not only the building, but infrastructure solutions part of it. I will define that as we go forward. It is altogether an innovative concept that we have come out. This has also given us a fillip to the balance sheet and the P&L too.
Now we'll go to Mr. Nitish.
The way I look at infrastructure building in India, it's a national asset. And nobody working for that should be a loser. Overall, because we are building all these things for community as a large, and they should get out of it. And it's for generations.
The Economic Times Infrastructure Awards, now in its 9th edition, celebrates outstanding contributions to India's infrastructure growth, identifying and felicitating the benchmarks of excellence that inspire the sector. The first set of awards was for Editorial Choice Awards, and in the category of the most admired emerging infrastructure company, roads, the honor was bagged by Bharat Vanijya Eastern Private Limited. The next category was the most admired company in the infrastructure sector, roads, and the award was given to HG Infra Engineering Limited. Most admired company in the infrastructure sector, railways, was the next category, and the winner was Rahi Infratech Limited. ITD Cementation India Limited has been recognized as the most admired company in the infrastructure sector, ports. The most admired company in the power sector, transmission, was the next category, and the winner was Sterlite Power Transmission Limited. Up next, Avada Energy Private Limited was acknowledged as the most admired company in the renewable energy sector. V8 Tech Wabag Limited bagged the honor for the most admired company in water infrastructure. Ramki Infrastructure Limited was awarded as the most admired emerging company in water infrastructure. Larsen & Toubro Limited, a transportation infrastructure independent company, was honored with the most admirable project of the year, airport. Ashoka Buildcon Limited was the clear winner under the category of Admirable Project of the Year, Roads and Bridges. Next category was EPC Company of the Year, and the award was given to none other than Heavy Civil Infrastructure IC Business Group, L&T Construction. Housing and Urban Development Corporation Limited won the most admired central entity in the infrastructure sector, housing. The Lifetime Achievement Award was the most prestigious category, and the honor was given to Ajit Gulabchand, Chairman of HCC. The second round of awards recognized the winners of the Best Construction and Infrastructure Brands 2024. And the first winner under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Construction Machinery was Action Construction Equipment Limited. Encraft India Private Limited was the next recipient under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Doors and Windows. HG Infra Engineering Limited was the next winner, which received the honor for Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Civil Construction. ITD Cementation India Limited was recognized as the Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Engineering Procurement and Construction. The next winner under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Power Infrastructure was Kalpataru Projects International Limited. The next category was Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Construction Machinery, and the proud winner was Mahindra Construction Equipment. Next in line was the category Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Water Technology, and the honor was given to Pump Academy Private Limited. The next winner under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Cement and Concrete was RDC Concrete India Private Limited. Sistra India was the next proud winner under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Design and Consultancy. Finally, last but certainly not the least, under the category of Best Construction and Infrastructure Brand in Water Infrastructure, the winner chosen unanimously was Wellspun Michigan Engineers Limited.
We are really excited and passionate about a product in water resource management that we're introducing, whereby we believe not a single drop of water should be wasted as a resource, and it should be reused wherever it is being generated. And we are hoping that this concurrently works with the entire regime of the Prime Minister wanting to provide running water to almost every village, every tap that there exists.
The 9th edition of the ET Now Infra Focus Summit and Awards 2024 saw some high-voltage discussions and conversations which focused on the challenges and brought forth initiatives that are shaping the country's infrastructure, aiming to make India a Viksit Bharat.